Hey guys, how y'all doing today? Now this is going to be a topic that kind of bridges me within my profession, or a mental illness, or what we would say a behavior that is highly talked about in social media, and that's narcissism, or what we call in the field narcissistic personality disorder. And so I'm going to speak of it. Don't want to get too technical, but I want to talk about ways in which you can avoid dating a narcissist or someone who has some level of narcissism. Because there are plenty of people, everybody has some level of self-loathing, self-love, in which it's toxic to others at some point in their life. Some people have some ability to embellish upon themselves, to have mindsets that are not taking in account of others. These are all signs of a person who has narcissistic related behaviors. Okay? But I want to talk about how you can avoid that. How you can look at the telltale signs of dating a person who is a narcissist or have narcissistic behavior or tendencies. Now, I want to preface before I get started is the fact that this overusage of the word is highly saturated. And I want people to understand, technically in the field, there is not as many narcissists as people think. There are other illnesses that you may encounter that are very similar, or what we may call a differential diagnosis, and which is very similar to narcissism. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm going to start with number one. A sign that you can visualize and see, and you want to avoid a person like this. First sign of a narcissist, particularly if you're dating one, and I'm hoping you would avoid dating one because it is a toxic interaction, a toxic person, is that when you meet a narcissist, they are going to overly embellish. And I want to say overly embellish, meaning that they're going to say questionable things to make themselves appear a lot greater than what they really are. They're going to say things that are very questionable. Okay? Say, for instance, this could be a person who has a high school diploma, and they're going to claim that they work and they do this grandiose, they're in this grandiose position working for the government. They're gonna speak in a very vague manner. Narcissists are not specific in what they do, what they've achieved, things about their life. They speak very vaguely because they don't want you to know the truth. They're liars. They're very good, and they're very, very convincing liars. So when you start noticing that this narcissist or this person with this type of behavior talks in terms that leaves out key details, they say things in a very vague manner, particularly when they're talking about their achievements, their accomplishments, what they do, how much money they make, going about, it's almost as if they're going out of their way to convince you, but in all manners, it's almost like they're trying to convince themselves. And that's how convincing a narcissist can be. So I talked about being overly embellishing. I'm talking about speaking in vague terms. When people are talking like this, ask a lot of questions. If things are not adding up, it's nothing wrong with ending the conversation and moving along. Don't waste your time. Okay? The next thing I would say, in noticing telltale signs of noticing a narcissist, is that a narcissist hardly ever speaks of others or their connection to others, because narcissists are more internal. Okay, they think more about themselves, and they're more about convincing you to think of them the way they think of themselves. So when you're speaking to a narcissist, they probably not going to bring up friends, because they probably have caused problems with the friends that they tried to keep. And they have probably a lot of issues with family members, because a lot of narcissists have also ruined relationships of family members. Narcissists are very good at, when you start asking, tell me about your friend and family. I hardly ever see them. They'll say things like this, or I'm so busy with this job or this career that I have, or all these other different things. I have minimal contact. I don't see them that often. Or they'll come up with other lies of why they don't interact with these people. Narcissists are more comfortable talking about themselves in a disingenuous manner than talking about other people that should make up your life, make up their life. People that are being responsible of interacting with them throughout their upbringing, their social development. They refuse to, or they minimize, or they lie about those relationships. They will prefer talking about themselves. Also, when talking to a narcissist, they're probably not going to ask you a lot of questions about yourself. Again, it goes back to things being more internalized through themselves. They're probably not going to show emotion when it comes to things that were good or bad that you experienced. For example, if you've talked about the fact that you have accomplished something and you did this, a narcissist is probably not, in most cases, not all cases, going to congratulate you on what you've done. They're probably not going to hold you to high esteem. They're probably not going to praise you or anything that allows them to show some level of appreciation to others. They're not going to do it. If you talk about things that you've accomplished, if you just talk about something bad that occurred to you, say you lost a family member, you lost a job, or something horrific, something, your car broke down, things of that sort, they're probably not going to express how they're sorry. They're probably not going to express that they're concerned. They're not going to lend a hand to you, because narcissists are systematically very selfish, because they're more about themselves and not others. Okay? Start noticing these things as you're hearing them talk. And again, if you're seeing the repetitiveness of this, the lack of emotionally connecting to you in a manner that's reciprocal as you are to them, it's all about them. It's all about what they're going through. When you say things about yourself, I also, in interacting with a person with narcissistic related behavior, pay attention to the body language, pay attention to their facial expressions as it relates to them talking about themselves. And then if you're talking about yourself. And I guarantee you, in most situations, when narcissists are talking about themselves, they have a more fluid, more loose body language. As opposed to hearing you, they're probably going to have more of a stoic and disinterested presentation. Okay? These are some of the signs. Now, I could go on and on about people who have narcissistic-like behavior, but I wanted to kind of summarize that to some of the key things I just spoken about. and the fact that you should be cognizant of your interaction with these type of people. Because if someone is consistently through conversation, I'm going to say if you had at least 3 or more conversations, 2 or more dates, or even on one date, if you constantly notice this throughout the whole date, a 2 or 3 hour or more date, and you're constantly seeing some of the things that I'm talking about, it would be a great idea to tell that person, you're not the person for me. I'm not interested. I think that I may want to move on. We could just, I don't even encourage you to say, can we just be friends? Because even if you relegate the interaction to friends, they're still going to act the same way in a friendship, the same way they would in a personal relationship or a romantic relationship. Okay? So again, we're looking at key aspects of it is lack of empathy, poor communication, lack of interacting appropriately in a reciprocal or a back and forth related conversation where the focus obviously changes in outward behavior as it relates to narcissists talking about themselves as opposed to you talking about yourself or you being the topic of conversation. Also, we're looking at a lack of connectivity as it relates to showing feelings towards you, as I talked about empathy, as opposed to things about themselves. And again, last but not least, lying, disingenuous, lying. Narcissists are notorious for just lying to make themselves appear far greater than what they actually are. So again, guys, this is Coach D. Darrell Spears here today with the Coach D. Darrell Spears TV Dating Coach channel. Y'all have a great day.